Trap Politics TV, trappolitics.com. He is I and I am him. Trending culture, lifestyle commentary. It's your boy Rel. Let the games begin. So now, I'm back, y'all. Back from a long hiatus, a good 2 weeks. I was out and about. I got a lot of things I want to touch on about my trip, my experience. Some thoughts that I think that you guys would appreciate. A little bit of everything, you know what I mean? First and foremost, make sure you like, subscribe if this is your first time here. I do a lot of these streams from time to time, and this is definitely the lifestyle portion of trappolitics.com. Man, taking a red-eye flight definitely puts you in a certain, brain fog, but it's been less than 24 hours since I got back, and it's only right that I give you guys the most raw, purest, honest point of view of my trip. As you might have seen in the thumbnail, it's all about Colombia. It's all about Medellin, specifically El Centro. And I want to get into that. I want to talk to y'all about it, and hopefully, you appreciate, you continue to rock out with me as we continue to take more trips throughout the years and, and this journey with me, man. Once again, it's your boy Rel. Make sure to like and subscribe. Now, I want to get into a few things, man, about this trip that I went on. I want to start from the inception, right? I've been planning this trip to El Centro, Medellin for a very long time. With a lot of people, people locally, people who I thought that was friends, people who, who were interested in traveling as well. I was like, you know what, man, we should just go out there and just experience the culture. Long story short, I was the only one that was able to go out there and really experience the people, the culture, the lifestyle. But before I did that, I watched a lot of YouTube videos about it, and I'm gonna get into that in a second about how outrageous these YouTubers are that do go out there and exploit a lot of the people in Medellin, Colombia. But I mean, I'm gonna dive into that later on. I want to start from the top though, right? So I did my research. Took my flight down there. I went out there for my birthday as well too. Your boy turned the age that he turned when he was out there, and I went out there to really celebrate. But I went out there by myself, and when I started to mix and mingle with the people, they were like, "So you just came out here solamente?" And I was like, "Yo, yeah, I'm," and they say, "Yo, tú loco, tú muy loco." Yes, I'm very loco. I am very loco. So as I was out there, just being a tourist in a city sort of like New York, but not really, because it does go to sleep at a certain point. It's not like if you could wake up and go out in a certain point in time and get food or, do certain things that you want to do. But so I went out there for my birthday in October from the 26th. I left on the 26th and I came back today. This morning, actually, I came back at 6 a.m. this morning. So the whole experience is still fresh in my mind. And I waited 4 minutes and 20 seconds for me to tell you that. It's like the experience is pure and fresh in my mind. So I want to make sure I give you guys the purest of what I felt, how I felt when I was out there, what I experienced when I was out there, and everything that I think you guys should appreciate as well if you guys ever do decide to go to Medellin. Or if not, live vicariously through me and you guys will be able to get a certain understanding of how it is out there. Man, it's a very beautiful place in El Centro. The thing about El Centro, though, is that it's like downtown of the city. So there's certain parts of the city, right? There's Poblado, Itagüí, and certain other places. And El Centro is like, it's not expensive. And it's like where the middle class would reside. The food, let's start with the food. The food was exquisite. The food, it was so fucking good, and it was so cheap, and it wasn't like they just handed to you on some bullshit. The food, they really did do their thing with the food. The food is so fucking good. And sorry to be cursing or whatever, but the food is amazing in El Centro, right? Now, I'm not talking about any other part of Medellin besides the El Centro part of Medellin. I know there's other people that go to other parts of Medellin, like Poblado and, like I said, Itagüí and Rio Negro, all these other different places or whatever. But my specific focus is mainly in El Centro. When I went down there, my whole goal was just to focus on being part of the local community, mixing, vibing, talking, rubbing shoulders, and just being and being engageful as I can be with the local municipality out there and whatnot, right? Even though my Spanish is very limited, still they were able to have enough patience to work with me and understand what I'm coming from, understand what I want to order, what I like, and where I want to go, and yada yada yada. So the people in El Centro is very understanding, very welcoming, very down to earth. Now maybe it could have been because I was a foreigner from New York, that could have added to it. But I do notice though that in times where I was just hanging out and chilling, there's people who would pass by all the time and say hello to the local bartender, the local mechanic, the local hairstylist. People are just very welcoming and communicative with each other. There is a dark side to that though, because the poor, and I don't want to get too much in depth in talking about the poor, because that's a very sensitive topic to me that I realized that really hit a nerve when I was out there. But before we get to that, I want to talk about how much of a community El Centro really is, right? So as the night would fall, there was a lot of people who would hang out in certain parts of the town, certain parks. People would hang out, have a beer, and in the area that I was in too, there was a lot of students. So I was close to a university, and I was close to a dormitorium. Not per se a dorm, but it was like an apartment complex where people would hang out in like the lobby area, because the lobby area was huge and it had bars and restaurants that people would normally come to gather and just eat. And also too, there was a stage down there, and I was in all of that. I was in the mix of all of that, hanging out, just rubbing shoulders and just kicking it with just people who understood me enough to give me conversation. And I couldn't have been more appreciative of those people. You know what I'm saying? Just feeling how welcoming of a community it really was down there. Now, like I said before, maybe it's just because I was a foreigner, they made me feel welcome. But then again, too, it's like they had enough patience to deal with my lack of Espanol, and I appreciate their patience with me. Now, I experienced a lot of things. I experienced the good, the bad, the ugly, and the great, So what was great was what I was talking about, how everybody's like a community, everybody's patient and whatnot. But as the days went on, birthday came along or whatever, I decided to be a little more adventurous and really go take a long walk. That's what I did. When I was there for the 2 weeks that I was there, I took a lot of walks. So I would walk to the museum area. I would walk through the markets. I would try to bargain with some of the jewelers just so I could practice my Spanish, not necessarily to buy anything. Also, too, I knew my prices about certain things. Once or twice I almost got robbed in certain areas, and I'm gonna talk about those areas in a second. But it wasn't like a stick up type of situation. It was like, hey, this guy's a fucking foreigner. What the fuck does he know? I'm just gonna give him whatever change, and he won't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. But I knew what the hell was going on. You know what I mean? But as I wandered through the parts of El Centro in the markets and whatnot, there was a lot of things that I did notice. One, everybody's hustling. Everybody's making a buck however they can make a buck off the land, off of their produce, off of offering something. Nobody just has their hand out, and the people who do have their hand out really are the people who need the help. But from some of the locals who I've spoken to, they said it's never best to really help the people who really have their hand out like that, because what you give them, they're just going to use it for drugs. Speaking of drugs, the heroin pandemic out in Medellin, in El Centro, Medellin, is crazy. Now, that's one thing that they don't show you or talk about enough in the news, in some of these YouTubers' videos that you guys watch. They don't show you how crazy the poor, the addiction, and the drug abuse is out there. It's plaguing a whole lot. And in the areas that you may see on these YouTube videos where people are just out there, hanging out and talking about, oh, it's cool, it's cool, it's cool. Most of the times that they hang out and show you all the nice shit, it's in Poblado. But if you really hang out in El Centro long enough, you start to realize that, yeah, El Centro is not really a place to be bar hopping. It's not necessarily a place that you want to be out late at night. Even though I see certain YouTubers doing that shit, out of clout, trying to gain some type of notoriety, which is very disingenuous. And I'm not knocking them, but whatever. Do whatever you want to do as a colonizer. You got to colonize your YouTube views as best as you can, and whatever, man. You get what you get, however you get it, and it is what it is. I can't tell you what's ethical or not, because even in my thumbnail, I'm out here using pictures of people, but at least I block out their faces. And that's one thing. The people out there in El Centro realize what the fuck is going on. And from what I understand is that a lot of prices has been going up for a lot of things. Things that used to be cheaper is now more expensive and whatnot. But back to the poor though, right? The poor really broke my heart out there to see how many poor people there is. Because if you walk real deep into El Centro, in certain parts of El Centro, you'll realize that the poor, it's really poor out there, man. And I'm a little upset that I came back and not help certain people that I wanted to help. I did go out of my way to give money as much as I can, because American money compared to Colombian pesos is a lot. If you really weigh what it is, $1 is 37, I think, or $3,800 out there in Colombia, and 50,000 pesos is is a lot of money. So to be able to, with 50,000 pesos is, what's that, like maybe like 10, 15, I don't know. It's not much to go in your pocket and give somebody 10,000 pesos. Do I have my wallet with me right now? I'm gonna show you guys what 10,000 pesos look like. Do I have my wallet? Damn, I ain't got my wallet with me right now, but I still have some pesos from when I was out there. And whenever I do see people who need it, and I'm not talking about the junkies, because there's a lot of junkies. There's a lot of junkies in El Centro. There's a lot of hookers in Poblado. And I'm going to get to that in a second, right? But aside from that, the poor, though, there's a certain level of poor. And I don't want to talk, you guys too much about it, because, the attention span of just hearing a talking head is very limited. So I'm not going to really talk your head off too much. But the poor out there, the poor is... I wish there was more that could be done about the poor in that area, because it's really heartbreaking to see it. And I'm sure it's just my point of view of what I'm seeing here. And I'm sure what I'm seeing here is the same thing that's in a bunch of other places in the world. But man, every chance I get that I see somebody that I believe that if I give you money that you could be able to do something positive with it, I jumped head over heels for it. People came up to me asking me for money for food. I tell them, well, tell them what you want to eat, and I'll buy the food for you. I'm not going to give you the money. I'll pay for the food, and you can go ahead and take the food and go ahead and eat. But these are the things that aren't talked about by some of these YouTubers out there. Shame on you YouTubers out there that go out to Medellin, go out to all these places and only talk about the good shit. You all should be talking about the bad shit as well, too, because there's people out there that are inspired by what you guys are doing, influenced by what you guys are doing, and then they go out there and they see what it is for real, like a person like myself, and really realize that you guys are trying to just only show what people want to see instead of telling them the actual truth. And this is the God honest truth about the environment in specifically in El Centro. And I heard about Poblado too. Poblado is very uppity, very expensive, and there's a lot of hookers in Poblado. Now, hookers are may not be poor materialistically, but morally they may seem poor to the eyes of people who feel like they're just morally obligated to look past them, and it's like, all right, you'll treat them like how you would treat a poor person in El Centro, and the contrast is just so crazy. Now, being a black person, I have a certain perspective on how people are treated, when it comes down to status and class. And it's a lot to think about when you're really walking around and you're seeing certain people. Me, I helped a lot of single mothers. I saw a lot of single mothers, and I also saw a different class of certain Spanish people out there. I saw indigenous Spanish people looking for, help as well too. Now, I don't know if there's like a certain division between the more fair-skinned Spanish and the indigenous Spanish, but I saw a lot of red-skinned Spanish people out there more poor than I did see the more fair-skinned Spanish people, more lighter-skinned Spanish people out there. And I began to think, is there a prejudice, towards them as well? These aren't addicts, these aren't drug abusers, but it made me think, like, what's stopping these people from getting anything available to them? They have kids, they have babies, and there's always women I see out there with their children. There's one woman I saw, it was hot one day, she had like a cardboard covering over her baby while her baby slept on her lap and whatnot. She was just out in the main street, and that shit broke my fucking heart. There's many times that I seen things like that broke my heart. One day it was raining, and another red-skinned Spanish lady was out there, and her two kids were sleeping, and it was like, but it's raining out. I had an umbrella, I'm passing, and I'm watching, and it's like, it's hard to really look at these things and think like, damn. I think the poor is a certain type of poor when I see it in America, but you go down there and you see it a completely different way. And it really, it really blew my mind. But aside from that, man, yes, there's a lot of hoism. There's a lot of hooking going on down there. There's a lot of people that go to Rundell Street or whatever, however you call it, and they show you just that one little smidget of the corner. But to be honest with you, Rundell Street is not that whole area right there. First of all, picking up hookers from the street is very low class. According to the locals, you don't want no hoe from the street level. There's levels to this shit. You know what I'm saying? You could go with the agencies. You could even go as further on as going through Facebook, Tinder, and all these other things. If you're really going out there to be on your monger shit, to be out there, picking up thoughts, sluts, and all that type of crazy shit. There's levels to that shit. And what you see in some of these YouTube videos that try to exploit these street workers, these sex workers, is that they go and they show you how good they look or whatever the case may be. Understand that those videos were probably recorded like 6 to 18 months ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever. They just uploading it now, because what I see in those videos that they're just premiering today, tomorrow, or some shit like that is not what El Centro looks like today. El Centro is not what you see in those videos. And I'm giving you the God honest truth from being there not less than 24 hours ago. You know what I'm saying? Completely different. But to each his own. Use some decorum. I'm just giving you my honest view, honest opinion, fresh from it. I didn't want to talk your ears off too much about it. I will be going back again. I met a lot of great people, down to earth, honest people who speak English, and that was able and gave me a pure, honest view about certain things, not the glitz, glamour, and wannabe celebrity lifestyle. There's a lot of lying ass motherfuckers on YouTube that are lying about exactly what happened in El Centro and certain parts of Medellin. They're trying to live like this high class celebrity lifestyle, thinking that they're like the super Mac when they go down there. And to be honest with you, the locals are very disgusted. If you look at a lot of the videos, you would see that a lot of those locals are looking at these people and are talking to themselves, ready to, they're not happy with what's going on or what they see is happening, because there is a huge influx of people going into Colombia the past few years. And I believe it's because a lot of these YouTube videos, on top of a lot of other things too that's been happening in Colombia. You don't hear too much about people going to DR, because a lot of the people that do go over to Medellin, from what I heard from a lot of locals, a lot of people from Jamaica, a lot of Europeans, people from America, it's a huge influx that's just starting to come in, and It's unbeknownst to why, but it's helping the economy, and prices are going up for a lot of things. It's a supply and demand metric that's being played here. A lot of lying is going on YouTube though, and that's the shit that breaks. Not, it don't break my heart, but it breaks my trust for a lot of you motherfuckers that's putting a lot of bullshit out there. Do I have any videos? No. Do I have? I'm not exploiting these people. I'd rather come here and be a talking head and tell you exactly what it is. You know what? Let me just show you what the fuck I bought to when I was down there. So I bought this liquor when I was down there, right? If you know about Colombia, you should know about this liquor. They drink this everywhere. There's no way you can't go where you can't get this liquor. And I had to, it's uncracked. I didn't pop this open at all yet, as you can see, but they drink this everywhere down there. And I had to bring me a bottle back. Why not? But with that being said, this was just my first trip, so I didn't really do all the things that I see other people doing. Then again, I'm not like everybody else. Also, too, I'm not an exploiter. I'm not a colonizer. I'm not going to go over there and look for trouble, look for problems. I didn't have my camera out recording people like this shit is fucking cool. It is not cool. And if you really talk to the locals, they would tell you that it's not cool. Certain people, they don't give a fuck because it's all about how they could, benefit off of it. But it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm not telling you what to do or how to do whatever. But, it's your boy Rel. This has been a lifestyle portion of Trap Politics TV, trappolitics.com. I am exhausted. After catching that red eye, my mind is just like, I could sleep for like 12 hours right now and just picture myself back in Medellin, just relaxing, just enjoying that comfortable ass bed, eating that good ass food, listening to the dope ass music, hearing the people singing, enjoying the good company. Being able to talk and be able to have a cordial conversation with the women, and, being able to just relax and just be yourself and just be welcome and accepted for who you are. And that's the beautiful thing about it. Aside from everything else, I must say that the place and the people are very welcoming, open. And, I guess it's like that everywhere too, and maybe, like I said, maybe it's because I'm a foreigner from New York. But with that being said, until next time, it's your boy Rel, Trap Politics TV, trappolitics.com. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. If you want me to answer something in my next stream when it's going to be more trending culture and all that other extra silly shit that's been happening in the news. I know Alpo got killed when I was down there. All types of crazy shit happened. A big ass robbery happened. They ain't talking about all that. There's a big ass gold heist that happened like literally 15 minutes away from me. In Antioquia, not too far from where I was at, and then like 30 minutes further up, 2 weeks prior to me getting there, or a week prior to me getting there, they locked up like the biggest drug dealer of all. I went down there to really put my application in because I heard, you guys need a new drug lord, and sign me up. Let me see if my resume matches up. But none of that happened. I just went out there, ate a bunch of food, got fat, talked to the locals, and it is what it is, man. Thanks for kicking it with the kid. I appreciate your time. I'm about to get some sleep. It's been real. The streets has been real. I literally went and hung out in the hood, man. Trust me, I was in the trenches. If you look at the thumbnail, that thumbnail was a picture that was taken in the trenches. Because I ain't never scared. And with that being said, we out of here. Peace.